Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello my dear students, welcome to economics online classes. In the previous class we discussed regarding the poverty eradication programs and employment generation programs. Let us look at what are the self-employment programs implemented by the government for the upliftment of the weaker section of the society in India. Thus, self-employment programs in India. Many are programs implemented by the government for the removal of poverty and generating the employment opportunities and increasing the living standard of the people. In that, self-employment is also the one of the program. Wage employment already we discussed. Let us look at the self-employment program. Employment providing for the people for themselves according to their talent and knowledge. So, economic growth of the country always depends upon the highly skilled labor and utilization of resources and skill and knowledge of the people, how they involve in the work and how they are going to work according to their willingness. This economic growth of the country always depends upon the self-employment of the country, rate of the self-employment in the country. So, self-employment is a good employment for the people because according to their skill and talent they are go for such the works and they involve in their own knowledgeable works. Thus, economic growth depends on the following grounds. See the criteria. So, employment opportunities. There should be one country should have the good employment opportunities. Suppose it provides the good employment opportunities, then only it is said to be the well developed country. Creation of employment opportunities should be more in the country. Thus, skill of an individual is also considering. While giving the employment opportunities, skill of the individual should be considered. Knowledge of the individual should be concerned. Then, optimum utilization of human resource. How one country is going to utilize its resources, human resources, available resources in the 100%, then only it will be said to be the developed country. Economic growth is achieved only when the country is going to utilize the maximum of its human resources in the production process. Thus, education is the best tool to utilize the human resources. So, economic growth always depends on the education and employment. Economic growth always depends upon the education and employment. Thus, economic growth is in between the employment and education. Education and employment are both are interrelated, interdependent. So, both go hand in hand. If the education is there, then only one can gain the employment. If the employment is there, then only one can gain the income and their purchasing power, everything increases, standard of living increases, then only investment savings increases, economic growth occurs. They can contribute for the GDP growth rate. Gross domestic product increases only when the education increases. If the rate of education increases, rate of employment also increases. Thus, economic growth is in between the education and employment. Skill, knowledge, everything is secondary. Primary, this concept given importance to the education. Second one is employment. Education mold the individual with the skill and knowledge. Thus, economic growth depends upon the education and employment. So, self-employment is the best way to create the employment opportunities in a country like less developed countries like India. Thus, self-employment programs implemented by the government in India to eradicate the poverty and to generate the employment opportunities. First one program implemented by the government of India is SGSY. It means Swarn Jayanti Gram Swarajgar Yojana. So, it was implemented during April 1999. Main aim of this is providing the self-employment to the rural people, upliftment of the weaker section of the society, and providing them basic facilities and increasing their standard of living. Next program implemented by the Government of India in 2008, August 2008, that is Pradhan Mantri Employment Generation Program, PMEGP, Pradhan Mantri Employment Generation Program. What is this Pradhan Mantri Employment Generation Program? Means with the creating the employment opportunities to the rural people in rural areas, it is possible to eradicate the poverty and increase the employment opportunities. Then only it will lead to increase in the income. When income increases, automatically purchasing power increases, investment increases. That led to increase in the per capita income and national income. So overall GDP increases, gross domestic product increases in the country. Thus Pradhan Mantri Employment Generation Program aims at providing the employment to the rural areas with the self-employment schemes. So many of the NGOs are nowadays going to give the self-employments, non-governmental organizations. These are the government provided self-employment schemes. For example, non-governmental organizations are giving the self-employment programs. SKDRDP, you know that. SKDRDP. Many of the NGOs are providing the employment opportunities. In that highlighted one government, this NGO, non-governmental organization is SKDRDP. S means this is related to the rural development program with the self-employment. They were providing the self-employment with the rural development. Shri Kshetra Dharmasthala Rural Development Program, SKDRDP. It is having the many branches, as you know that it will provide the employment opportunities with the self-employment. It is a NGO, non-governmental organization. Sarkaretara this samsthe anta helteve. But these programs what we are studying all are the government providing the self-employment programs. Here is a security. Non-governmental organizations not providing the any security, but government organizations providing the security, surety of getting the income and or money. Thus next one main program is MGNREP, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Program. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Program. So providing the employment opportunities to the rural areas. In the at the national level, all the rural people should get the employment at the national level. It provides 100 days work, as I said earlier. Udyoga Khatre Yojana, Food for Work program. 100 days work will be providing self-employment. They can do their own work, any kind of work they can do. Marketing will be provided by the government itself, and that by that they can sell their goods or they can involve in any kind of work. For that government is going to give the money in the form of wage. Thus it is a wage and self-employment program. Next one is SJSRY. This is also one kind of program implemented by the government, that is a Swan Jayanti Shahari Rozgar Yojana. So its main aim is improvement of the urban areas, those were urban unemployed, providing the employment opportunities to the urban unemployed people. Don't think that only the rural people are unemployed, even the urban people also unemployed. There are two kinds of poor, I said, rural poor and urban poor, rural poverty and urban poverty. So those urban poor, they were unable to do the work. For them government provides Swan Jayanti Shahari Rozgar Yojana. Through that they were going to give the employment opportunities for the days required. Thus employment is provided according to their skill and knowledge, on the basis of their skill and knowledge. In the known field they can do the work. On the basis of their own skills, their own knowledge, they can do their work. Thus these are the main programs implemented by the government: SGSY, PMEGP, MGNREP and SGSRY. Thus economic growth is possible only with the help of creating the self-employment among the people. Self-employment is the best employment in the world. Economist says that self-employment is the best employment. So instead of depending on others, doing ourselves is better. ಬೇರೆಯವರನ್ನ ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಚಾಣಕ್ಯತನವನ್ನು ಬುದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೌಶಲ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಬೆಟರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಮತ್ತು ನಮಗೆ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳಿದಿರ್ತದೆ. ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದನ್ನ ಕಲಿತು ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದದನ್ನ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದು ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ದಸ್ it will increase the GDP growth rate faster than the other employment. Self-employment increase the gross domestic product. ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಒಬ್ಬ ಕೃಷಿಕನಿಗೆ ಕೃಷಿ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅವನು ಕೃಷಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ತೊಡಗಿಕೊಂಡು ಪಳಗಿರ್ತಾನೆ. So he can increase the productivity in agricultural field rather than in the industrial field. Industrial field, if you involve means he should take a long time for training, a long time for adjusting. So during that time it will be waste. Contribution to the productivity of individual is zero. Thus self-employment is the best employment. It will create the more GDP and it will lead to the economic growth of the country. Thus economic growth depends upon education and employment. Education and all kind of employment, not only whatever self-employment, wage employment, all kind of employment. Thus it is better to see economic growth depends upon employment, skill, knowledge, maximum utilization of human resources in the country and education level of the people in the country. On the basis of these grounds, one can calculate the country's rate of growth. Rate of growth always depends upon the self-employment ratio. Self-employment is the best employment. Best performance of the country is measured on the basis of employment growth rate in the country and education level of the people in the country. Thus, by this we came to conclude the poverty elevation programs and employment generation programs provided by the India and Indian government. Thank you for watching this video.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.